Joining me now is the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. It's New Jersey Democrat Senator Bob Menendez. Senator, when I heard the president there and I saw the readout yesterday, the thing I keep coming back to is why aren't there severe consequences for threatening to invade Ukraine?
Well, I think that our most powerful choice in this regard is to make it clear that any invasion would bring mother of all sanctions down on Putin, sanctions similar to the ones that I drafted against Iran that brought Iran to the negotiating table. At the end of the day, it's to deter Russia from acting. If you, in fact, slap sanctions now just because of, I'm not sure that we get the international response that we want, that the president is amassing in support of this incredible sentence that would be levied.
You know, it's interesting. It does seem as if, and I'm curious, Senator, is the change in leadership in Germany why Germany seems on board, agreeing that Nord Stream 2 goes if he crosses the border, if Putin crosses the border? Is that about a change in leadership, or would this have happened under Merkel too?
Well, in fairness, Merkel actually told Putin that if he invaded Ukraine, Stream would be shut down. It's not operating now, but that any process to get it operating would be totally shut down. And I think, obviously, the new chancellor, because of where he comes from and the coalition that he has, is even more against Nord Stream than Chancellor Merkel was. But I think the message from the Germans is pretty clear and unequivocal in this particular regard, and we welcome that our German allies.
I want to put up something Gary Kasparov wrote and then get you to ask the question about what do we owe Ukraine if they are invaded. Kasparov writes, all around the world, demagogues are pushing the same dangerous message. Democracy is broken and should be destroyed. Their attacks on democracy are only aided, even if unintentionally, by America seemingly losing interest in protecting the liberal democratic order it helped create. Look, I know you know Gary Kasparov well, and he is, obviously a huge critic of Vladimir Putin, believes the United States needs to be doing more. What is more would you like to see the U.S. do to protect Ukraine? And how much do we need to be sending a message to China in regards to Taiwan on how to Ukraine?
Well, I share Kasparov's disdain for Putin. That's why I've been sanctioned by Putin and can't travel to Russia. But at the end of the day, we're not going to send America's sons and daughters to Ukraine. But what we are doing and what we should strengthen is the ability of the Ukrainians to protect and defend themselves. So we should be more robustly assisting them with the type of equipment they need to defend themselves. And in fact, the new National Defense Authorization Act that we will be voting on, I hope tomorrow, will ultimately add millions more to that effort and in a guided fashion to help the Ukrainians. We should be amassing the international response that we want so that Putin understands this is the U.S., although the U.S. can close the doors to the world's financial institutions in a way that would cripple sanction, but getting the multilateral effect, and allies are joining us. It should be clear to Putin that the consequence of invading Ukraine is for NATO to have to strengthen resources at its now closest border. Those are all consequences I don't think Putin wants.
Everybody assesses Putin as an extraordinarily rational guy and a somewhat realistic guy, if you could agree on the facts. The first time he amassed troops, it did seem for attention from Biden, and he got it. Is there something else he's looking for here, or do you think this time it's going to be harder to back?
I think he has several things he wants. Number one, he wants a guarantee that there will be no enlargement of NATO, particularly as it relates to Ukraine. He wants a guarantee that he will have some protection for what he called Russian speakers in Ukraine, which is really, a red herring. He wants less of NATO's expansion eastward. And he wants a guarantee to president, not only this president, future presidents, that in fact will stick. Those are not guarantees that President Biden can give. But I do see that the president said that there's going to be a meeting with several of our European allies engaged with Putin as to his concerns about NATO. NATO is defensive. We do not get attacked, then NATO doesn't go into effect. And that's the fundamental reason that it exists, and Putin should understand that. But to the extent that there can be off-ramps for Putin in terms of some of his concerns that don't, however, bind Ukraine, only Ukrainians should make that decision, then we would welcome it.
This summit of democracy that the president is going to host kicks off tomorrow. What is something tangible that can come out of it that could say, okay, you know, look, Gary Kasparov, the op-ed I wrote to you, there is this feeling that democracy is on defense around the world. What can come out of this summit that gives democracy advocates, whether they're in Taiwan, Russia, Brazil, China, some hope?
I think a strong statement of commitment by the democracies at the Democracy Summit to support others, including those who are nascent democracies, in supporting them economically, supporting them diplomatically and elsewhere. That sends a message in the world, we stand with you. Strengthening democracies in their own country. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to show that democracy can deliver on behalf of its citizens. And even some who were invited to the summit need to strengthen their own institutions in order to guarantee that.
I was just about to ask you that. The Philippines and Pakistan feel like head scratchers.
Yeah. Well, they might not necessarily have been on my list of invitees as the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, but part of, I think, what the president is trying to do is take those that have some element of elected government and move them to the other elements that elections is not democracy in and of itself. It's institutions, it's rule of law, it's a respect for human rights.
Senator Bob Menendez, chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective with us, sir. Good to talk with you.
Always good to be with you.
Up next, some new legal hurdles for the January 6th Select Committee as the one-year anniversary of the insurrection approaches.